The power of letting go. Ethan sat by the hospital bed, watching the rise and fall of his father's chest. Machines beeped softly around him, steady but cold. The sterile scent of antiseptic filled the air, but it was the silence between breaths that struck him the hardest. He hadn't spoken to his father in nearly 10 years. Not really spoken. After his mother died, Ethan and his father drifted apart, and then, after one brutal argument, cut ties completely. Words were shouted that could not be unsaid. Pride filled the space where love used to be. They lived in the same city, crossed the same streets, breathed the same air, but they became ghosts to each other. And now, here they were. The last chapter. His father, weak and quiet. Ethan, full of things he never said. The nurse told him the end was near. Hours, maybe less. She gently placed her hand on his shoulder and whispered, "Talk to him. He can still hear you." But what could he say? He wanted to scream, to cry, to go back. He wanted to say, "Why didn't you call? Why didn't you come to my graduation? Why didn't you ever say sorry?" But most of all, he wanted to say, "Why didn't I forgive you?" He stared at his father's hand, aged, wrinkled, once strong, and remembered the little things. How he used to braid Ethan's shoelaces into silly knots to make him laugh. How he stayed up all night sewing a Halloween costume from scratch. How, after his mother died, he tried, he tried, but he didn't know how to grieve and parent at the same time. Ethan had only seen his absence, not his pain. The bitterness he held for years felt like rust inside him. It had corroded everything good. He reached out and held his father's hand. It was cold, fragile. "I was angry," Ethan whispered. "So angry. For so long. And now, I just wish I had more time." A faint tear slipped down his father's cheek. His lips moved slightly. Ethan leaned in. A breath. A whisper. "I'm sorry." 2 words. That was all it took. The walls that Ethan had built for years, thick with anger, pride, and grief, collapsed. He cried, harder than he ever had in his life. And this time, he didn't stop himself. He grieved not just for the man lying before him, but for the boy inside him who had carried a wound for too long. He let it out. He let it go. And in that release, something beautiful happened. He didn't feel empty. He felt light. When his father passed that evening, Ethan stayed by his side. He held his hand until the warmth faded. And for the first time in years, he felt peace. Because forgiveness wasn't about changing the past. It was about choosing not to carry it anymore. Letting go didn't erase the pain, but it made space for healing. In the weeks that followed, Ethan began to write letters. Letters to his father, to his younger self, even to his mother. He didn't keep them. He burned them, one by one, watching the smoke rise into the sky like prayers set free. Years later, he became a counselor. He helped others carry what they thought they had to bear alone. And every time someone asked how to heal, he said softly, "You have to let go, not because they deserve it, but because you do." Vocabulary list with examples. 1. Sterile, completely clean and free from bacteria, also used to describe places that feel lifeless. Example. The hospital room felt cold and sterile, like it belonged to another world. 2. Drifted apart, to slowly become emotionally distant. Example. After her best friend moved to another city, they drifted apart over time. 3. Pride, a sense of self-importance that can prevent someone from admitting they were wrong. Example. His pride kept him from apologizing, even though he missed her deeply. 4. Bitterness, a deep feeling of anger or resentment. Example. She spoke with bitterness when she talked about her lost childhood. 5. Corrode, or to slowly damage or weaken something. Example. His anger corroded his ability to feel joy. 6. Grieve, to feel intense sadness, especially after a loss. Example. It took him years to grieve the death of his brother. 7. Fragile, easily broken or damaged. She held the fragile glass in her hands as if it were a treasure. 8. Collapsed, fell down or broke apart. When he finally forgave her, the emotional wall between them collapsed. 9. Wound, emotional or physical injury. She carried a wound in her heart that no one could see. 10. Forgiveness, the act of letting go of anger towards someone who has hurt you. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you.